What exactly is Japan's part in this, and how does it fit into the broader US strategy?
So what the U.S. and its allies are doing are really imposing a chip blockade around China. The goal, as the Biden administration has laid it out, is to limit China's ability to develop some of these key technologies that they need for a number of things, but particularly military applications. So Japan's role in this is pretty key because the companies that make the chip-making equipment are really just in three countries: the U.S., Japan, and the Netherlands. So Japan this week is imposing these new restrictions on what its companies can export to China and other countries without a license. They fall into 23 different categories. It's a pretty broad array of things. So it will hit companies like Tokyo Electron and Lasertech. There are many of these Japan companies that have dominant market shares in key stages of the chip development technology. So that's going to be pretty effective and helpful in the U.S. effort to try to slow China's technology rise.
So, Peter, how significant is Japan's role in the global chip industry?
It is significant. It doesn't have the kind of market share that U.S. companies do in certain stages of chip development. It's not as high profile as TSMC in Taiwan, and it's probably also not as high profile as ASML, which is the leading creator of lithography equipment. But Chinese companies have near monopolies in certain stages of chip development. Things like wafer cleaning, wafer development, important stages along the way, so that if China is trying to develop its own domestic chip industry, these are going to create additional hurdles for them. Now, the U.S. and its allies are really focused at the highest end, the most advanced semiconductors out there. They'll still be able to do business at some of the legacy chips that are used in things like automobiles or washing machines that are less strategic, particularly for military applications.
So, Peter, we know that this rivalry in tech between the U.S. and China has been going on for a while, but how did it become centered on the semiconductor industry?
Well, chips are becoming the lifeblood of the global economy, a bit like oil in the past. And chips are used in pretty much everything. Of course, we know about smartphones and computers. They're also in the data centers that run all sorts of applications on our smartphones. They are used in cars increasingly, especially as we move to electric vehicles. They're more and more important. And they're used in military applications, which is the area of most concern, I think, right now for the United States, as they clash with China over a host of geopolitical issues.